Hello everybody, wow, I keep forgetting that button does that, but how are we all doing? I hope you're doing well. This is episode 6 of the Clip It podcast, the greatest podcast on Twitch that hasn't been watched by Dr. Disrespect or Shroud. Kind of annoying, but you know, still get in there. Today we're going to be talking about what we think is going to happen in the next 10 years, giving some predictions and potentially, you know, giving some truth bombs out there of what we truly think is going to happen. So it's going to be a fun episode. Personally, I think that Dr. Disrespect will be let out of prison due to a lack of charges and start a new streaming website called Brime. Sorry, he's going to make absolute billions off that due to shares. I also think myself Tactical TV is going to be the next #1 Twitch streamer in the UK, getting 500,000 views for each stream, and going to be starting on a new TV series on what it's going to be like being tall. I also think that Clip It podcast crew, the wonderful lads that we do this with, are going to be spending the next 10 years figuring out how in the fucking world I managed to do that. However, Delicious is going to lose 2 billion on some issues during a fight, and you know, he's going to be starting from the bottom again. And lastly, I think Agent Oink will also become the Prime Minister. I know it's a big claim, but I truly think that's going to happen, and he's going to cut all ties with the US and Russia and decide to make the EU an entire big country. Then Ash, you know, is going to find out that this is all happening, and he's going to try and topple the plans to do so. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Those are just my predictions, and that's what I personally think is going to happen. So yeah, it's just going to be fun. Anyway, shall we introduce the rest of the crew? I love these guys. These wonderful people are what make this podcast what it is. So again, thank you guys for that. Thank you guys for watching and enjoy the show. Let's introduce them. Hello everybody, how are we doing today?
Hello.
Yeah, I'm doing good.
That's
Gonna
good to
drop
hear.
some truth bombs on y'all.
Yep,
You drop the truth bombs, bro.
Go on,
Hashtag
truth bombs.
Clip It podcast.
Hashtag
Hashtag
it's like Iraq, but 2.0. Oh, that got
you
dark.
can't handle the truth.
Oh, jeez, talking about Bush again.
It's
How
a
you
fun
doing today,
conversation.
Corporal?
FIFA.
I saw that conversation. It did look quite interesting. But we are doing something different in this podcast, so if there are any technical issues, I do apologise. I am recording this one as of request from Delicious, because how I normally do it is download it from Twitch, and I do apologise if Alfie did mention that. I do apologise. Both of you probably did. So yeah, but it makes it easier. It takes one less step out of the system, and I can get the videos up on the channel much sooner. So yeah, I feel like this is going to be a fun topic. We're going to go into some serious stuff, also just go into some silly stuff that, you know, it would just make us enjoy this podcast, and I do hope you guys do too. Hope you're doing well, Corporal. And you know what, let's just start this off by, how do you guys feel the world's going to change in the next 10 years?
Sorry. Right. Yeah, Alfie, your thoughts?
A lot of bad for a while. I think we're on
family gonna hate me.
a downturn, like overall. There's going to be a lot of sort of strife and chaos and wars picking up. I think
Technology's
things like
going to be dope, though.
China, North Korea, and Russia are gonna really sort of get to the point where the international community has to start taking a stand. And like we've always known, it's probably going to be messy and probably going to result in military conflict, which ain't so great. But on a positive side, yeah, there's some really good shit going on in technology. I think battery tech is the shit that I'm most excited for, because the second we get denser energy storage, you know, we're looking at electric planes, all that shit, and that's going to be amazing. I mean, like,
Phones that
only are
literally
electric
last
planes
days.
cool and good for the environment, but also just like, you know, they're quiet and cool. Well, not quiet, but they're quieter. You know, it's cool.
It's not
They're
like
just
you
cool.
get on a plane and go, shit, this is loud.
No. Depends on
Yeah,
the plane you're
it
sat
really
on.
does depend on the plane. To an
That's
extent, it
true,
even
actually.
depends on the airline.
Oh yeah.
Actually, that kind of I wish we could talk about this topic. That kind of
to be
goes into goes into our new favorite game coming out soon. Being personally, I'm quite excited for it. It's not actually that expensive.
It's reasonably priced.
Oh,
in
the
my
thing is, the one thing I was really worried for people
Oh,
who don't
right.
know, we're talking
I've
about
just
Flight
thought on-
Simulator.
yeah.
I was really worried they'll go for a
Oh, dear.
subscription-based system just because they're using Bing Maps.
Well, that's the thing. I think there
What-
could still
What
be
a
a
weird
subscription.
reason! What a weird
I
reason
think-
to think they were
yeah.
going for subscription services.
Okay,
now.
yeah, that's
Bing Maps
it's a little
integration.
more than just that.
Renowned
But
for subscription services.
it's Microsoft we're talking about.
Subscribe to get to your destination.
But yeah, like I feel like there could still be a subscription in the game somewhere, and that does worry me
Mm.
because at that point I'm gonna be disappointed. I definitely don't think that I don't think there's going to be microtransactions as such. I think they'll still be using, the sort of DLC model in terms of actual additions and aircraft and that. But I don't think there'll be microtransactions at like a store with an in-game currency. I don't think they'd ever go for that.
You saying that the basic version has 30 planes? I can't actually remember the numbers.
Yeah,
off
I
my
think 30.
I think it's 30
no, no, no.
planes.
30.
That's the advanced
Oh,
version.
no,
I think
it's
the
20 planes,
default is
30.
20.
20 planes,
20,
30
25, 30.
airports. Isn't
I
it?
think.
20 planes, 30 airports. And then it's...
Something like that.
but,
sure,
like,
whatever. Close.
but you both, and we spoke about this a few weeks ago, when we first found out about when we started talking about this game, when we were talking about games we were excited for. I think that was like 2 weeks ago. You both nailed it on the head of you'll be paying for planes and airports.
Oh yeah, but I mean, you had to on the last one, which is
But yeah,
what gave me that
to be
inclination.
fair, to not give me or Fela much credit, we were literally just doing exactly how the last one works.
Fair, that's fair. But it does look really good. And again, for what was it, £60,
Yeah.
30
It's going
planes.
to be one of the best simulator experiences
Definitely.
ever made for
Yeah,
anything.
I mean, it's interesting. So I've always been
Going
sort of
slightly off
into my
topic,
flight
but-
sims, but I'm not too fussed about having more airports is nicer. Obviously in the original there were, God, I don't have an official number, but hundreds that you didn't need to download, but they were less detailed. Some of them were literally just dirt. But I always ended up using like one or two. I generally always go for San Francisco, I believe. I don't know why, but it's
Interesting
always
choice, yeah.
yeah, it's been one that I've stuck with. So that doesn't bother me. What bothers me, though, a little bit, is the planes, because it's a smallish amount, to be fair. And yeah, they're all going to be super well modelled. And yeah, it's more than, I guess, other flight simulators like DCS, technically. And probably more than the original
Oh,
flight
and let's
sim.
just add, DCS is you get 2 planes with the base game, or
Yeah.
3 games, and then
And then you
each
have to pay
every other
a
plane
lot.
is like £30 for the cheapest, up to £80 per
Oh, less
plane.
than £30. Let's be
Okay.
fair.
But yeah, it's up to like I know the newest like F18A. I can't actually remember what the newest one they released is, but that was like a good like 60
I
to
think
80
the
pound.
F14's one of the newer ones.
Yeah, and that was ridiculous money to pay just for that. Again, they are stupidly they are military grade like simulation. If I'm not wrong.
Oh, absolutely. But it's and again, I know Microsoft Flight Sim is about commercial flights, but looking at the
Mostly.
list, there's only like let me just get the list now because there's only 3 aircraft that I was interested in
I was definitely like
specifically.
something, and we toyed around the idea in the Discord. Highly recommend go and join it. It's in the
Actually, I'm just gonna
in the
go to our
panels,
Discord because I
but,
posted it in there.
we were toying with the idea of all like just having a go on it. Even if you were to, so if you're one of the lucky ones who doesn't have Game Pass, or you just make a new account, first month is £1, and I'm almost certain you get the game for free with Game Pass. So you get the game for £1 for a month just to try it out, have a bit of fun. I know some of you out there are going to have to use that month to just download it because it's what 150
Oh, you're kidding
gigabytes.
me.
But
Sorry, no, I've just
sorry, I'll let you carry on.
I was looking at the list of airports and airplanes that were coming out, and I wasn't going to care about the airports at all.
Is
My
London there?
dumbass, the only it's one of the top premium ones. We'll call it.
Okay. Oh wait. Oh
Fucking San Francisco, the only one that I mentioned
yeah.
at the very bottom of the list, the top premium only.
Wow.
Like I
Wow.
said, it doesn't matter that much. I'll probably just move over to which of these? Go to? Oh, Los
To be-
Angeles is there.
It is.
I
To
just
be
moved to
fair,
LAX.
San Francisco folk that would obviously, people that live in San Francisco would be quite likely to want to fly in and out of San Francisco.
Nice.
Don't have homes because of the housing crisis, so they probably do have a bit of extra money to splash. So that's good.
God damn it.
So
But so in my opinion, if you want to try the game out, if you want to make an account and get Xbox Live for £1, try it for a month. If you don't, it's still £8 for a month. If I'm not wrong, maybe gone up to 10.
I think it's $10.99.
That's still really cheap for a game that's 60, and you get to try it for a month.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, it's technically, I don't know, some people look at it as a paid demo, but I really don't give two shits. It's a game that you're either going to really want to play or not.
But on the subject of what I was saying about aircraft writing, again, I know it's a commercial one. I'm looking now, the aircraft that specifically interests me, I wouldn't say the 152, but I would, just because that's the default like plane, if you see what I mean. So that's a given.
Okay.
You do have a 747, and then the only other plane I'm interested in particularly is the Icon. I've loved the Icon for years. So that's pretty, and that's part of the standard package.
I mean,
So
it's interesting for me because I am not like as into aviation as Phelan.
Hello.
You know, you're pretty into it, but I still really quite like planes and aviation in general. It's just that I'm not, completely obsessed with it like Phelan is. It's weird. So for me, like the planes that interest me, 747, no, I hate the 747.
I love the 747.
It'd be fun to fly.
I say it's controversial, but it's not really. It's always been a love-hate thing, but like I don't know. I have a lot of problems with the 747.
I would
nothing
still argue
against Boeing, apart from all of the things I have against Boeing. But
well, yeah, okay.
whatever.
Boeing have really gone downhill, especially
the plane that interests
years.
me the most, and I'm gonna ignore anything that's in the deluxe or premium list for like airports and thing we're talking about because I'm just not gonna purchase them. I'm sorry, I don't have the money.
That's a good point. What version? I assume you just get the standard version.
Yeah, you do. You just get the standard version.
Yeah. Actually, I hope so.
No, you just get the standard version.
Yeah.
But for me, it would definitely be the Airbus A320neo, just because I like Airbus planes and I like Airbus a lot.
I want to fly the Cessnas.
I have a flight stick, which makes flying that feel more like I'm actually flying an Airbus.
Well, I mean, I don't have a yoke or anything.
The Cessnas are going to be fun.
I do kind of want it.
But no, it'll just be interesting. I'll definitely give it a try with Xbox Gold. We were toying with the idea as well of, my 24-hour stream will be me flying across the country, or the world, sorry.
Yeah, it was not the country, although I could see
the world.
Either of which taking you...
Will I do the Amelia Earhart challenge of going around the world, go to each of those? The one Nerd Cube gloriously failed because he tried flying into a bloody pyramid.
I'm not sure glorious is the term that I would
gloriously
use, but,
Yeah.
Try and get a Scott Manley.
I want to, like, obviously the first thing anyone's going to do in the game, like Phelan said, is just boot it up and fly. Like no, you're just gonna give it a go, see what it's like. No one's gonna go in straight doing some advanced shit. But I definitely feel like I probably would consider streaming, something, I don't know, not sure where to yet. Possibly like a longer flight, bit of terrain.
Flying circles.
I feel like yes. With like the map generation and the quality of that, I really want to test out like a long haul flight, right? Something like I don't know, like UK to Japan or like America to Japan or
just see how
like
good the map is. And is what I want to try.
Just get a feel for like how it is to actually fly like that long a distance across like that varied terrain and such, right? How's the map actually going to hold up?
I'm interested to see how the ocean's going to look as well.
The images suggest so.
Yeah.
Good.
It is a beautiful looking game. They've done an amazing job at recreating the world, basically. It'd be interesting to see how they do the loading. Obviously, like if I'm going off from what I heard ages ago, but if I'm not wrong, it's sort of cloud-based how they generate the world. From
what I remember, and obviously this was a while ago, they may have changed it. The game's been in development for a long time. It streams the data to your PC. You need a constant strong internet connection, and you can select the quality of what it's loading based on your internet connection. And I don't know, but I definitely said I wanted them to be able to I want to be able to pre-download regions like you can on Google Maps on a phone.
Right.
I want to be able to say like this area around JFK, right, as in the airport, not like literally JFK. I want to like save this area in the highest quality, and like sure that's going to be a lot of gigabytes, but if you have the hard drive space, I definitely think you should be able to do that.
Oh yeah, I certainly.
It'd be interesting.
I'm not sure if that will be the case or not.
Again, I feel like we're going to try it out, and I'm interested to see how the multiplayer works.
Yeah.
The first, the Flight Simulator was Microsoft Flight Sim had quite a decent community. loads of servers up, and anybody who watches the air control tower videos, it's definitely an interesting community. But I'm interested to see if they have that in the new one. If they have,
almost. They've got.
I hope so, because that would be so much fun.
I would cautiously substitute decent community with active community there. Because it was active, but whether I'd call it decent is a different thing.
I definitely would if I could. If they have, obviously, you have to have some knowledge of what you're doing. But I would just love to stream like an hour of just being in an air control tower. I feel like it'd be a lot of fun. If you get the right server.
I don't think that would be a good idea for anyone who was trying to fly.
I know, that's what I mean.
There we go.
So,
I definitely would love to do like a long haul flight and like properly handle all the ATC myself and that, because that'd just be really fun and satisfying.
I feel like we should all try
I'd be terrified if you were on the other end.
Yeah, I was gonna say we should all try and fly in formation, the same flight.
Oh, absolutely.
That'd be great fun.
We're gonna aerial refuel, bitch.
Be fair, we also I'm saying we need to do TCS again, because that's.
Yeah, no, it will be fun. I will definitely all be getting the game and potentially streaming it. So that's 18th of August. Is it coming out?
Too far away now.
18th of August. Yeah.
Yep, 18th of August.
So yeah, I'll definitely be streaming it. I hope you do join me on the matter of just playing it or streaming or recording. You should actually that should be your comeback to YouTube, Delicious or Phelan. You should just make a video on it.
Wow, Delicious or Phelan.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. We'll say I'm interested to see something that I never fussed with, but was always there. But I know why they did it, but like I said, I never touched it. Was they had accessibility options to the point where like you could change the flight characteristics, the weather, the physics, like just on what was it, like a realism scale for multiple things, which of course I always just whacked up to max because that's what I was playing a simulator for.
I mean, to be fair, MFSX wasn't particularly realistic in terms of its actual physics simulations, but for its era, it was decent.
But I wonder now if they're going to include options like that again, or if they're going to say, no, it's a simulator, play a simulator.
Yeah. The other thing
I force people into it.
Kind of goes into the same thing actually. I'm kind of interested in is, are they going to go and stick with airliners and like public small craft, or are they going to go into like exotic planes, like bring the SR-71 in, or the U-2, or some other
I would predict
fun
they're going to
planes.
stick to mostly popular planes that range from personal aircraft, one or two man, well, like 1, 2 to 4 people, that people are generally owning, or you can take short trips to places on, through to medium size passengers to large passengers. I don't think there's really going to be anything that exotic, because that's kind of always what they focused on. Not that's necessarily a bad
large
thing.
Passengers.
Far Cry 6 is confirmed 2021. That makes sense.
I'm not like, you can get large passenger planes that aren't wide bodies and such forth.
You can carry Americans on large passengers.
Oh my god. But yeah, I don't want to cut this short. We'll definitely have to talk about it more. And as mentioned, I will definitely be streaming it.
You say that, and it sounds like you're cutting it short. To be fair, I'm just
it does
mention.
Phelan, you will know enough about Airbus planes, I would imagine.
Yeah.
A decent amount. I don't know why I just said enough without providing any context to what I was on about. Yeah, you'll know a decent amount about Airbus planes, I'd hope. You know how Twitch has a policy of certain words being questionable on stream?
I think Airbus will be fine. Oh, yes, absolutely.
I'm genuinely wondering where Twitch would stand on that.
Wait, can you put it in chat so I can read it but not show it?
No, you're getting a video of this.
Oh, okay. But yeah, no, so I just wanted to... we kind of went off topic there for a good 20 minutes.
Did. We were like, we're going to discuss the future of the planet. So by the way, Microsoft Flight Simulator...
Also, Boeing do it too, to be fair.
Okay, no, I think that word's going to be fine. Obviously, Twitch are getting a lot better at context. And so I feel like if you're playing that game, they're gonna like be, that's fine. Obviously, you have no control in that. Maybe they might have a setting. I doubt it though.
To be fair, Airbus can land and take off their planes completely automatically now, like in almost any situation.
Aren't most planes? Oh yeah, I was gonna say aren't most planes. All planes are basically auto flown when they're in the air. It's just humans who take them off and land them.
That's very different from taking off and landing, though, which
Yeah.
is the point I was making.
Yeah, but again, I don't think they're going to go autonomous for a long time for the same reason of would you get into a fully autonomous car or the average
Yes.
human?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, never mind.
if I have seen Airbus's demonstration of their technology for fully autonomous takeoff and landing, and while obviously Airbus hasn't deployed it yet, I would happily get in that plane.
I'd
without
say
much
from what I
concern.
know,
there are still
it
pilots behind the controls,
exists
so like
on-
if something goes wrong, they can just take over. It's fine.
I'm fairly certain it exists. I can't remember to what extent on some, especially the more recent, but even like some
Isn't it the
747
Concorde?
models, I believe. The
I mean,
Concorde
like,
was a.
You've got
Interesting
ILS, which
Oh, I
doesn't
wonder
really
if they bring
count
the
as autonomous
Concorde into
landing.
it.
Like ILS should not be considered autonomous landing, and it's an important distinction.
Okay, yeah, no,
Oh,
sorry.
maybe.
This is me
'Cause
being
it's just not.
this is me being genuine, but I would love to see them bring some retro planes into it, like the Concorde.
I mean, yeah,
Like,
the
as a
Concorde's
DLC,
a cult
even-
classic, so I
yeah.
can understand why they would bring something like that in. It still suits passengers in that, so
It would be a
I mean,
beautiful. It would be a
not-
fun
not
plane to
efficiently in a
fly.
military sense.
It would be a fun
Mm.
plane
Oh,
to
yeah.
fly, definitely.
I mean, you can go the same speed as
Can't
it
wait
and
to burst
like,
into fire and
all
take
of the
off.
other planes.
Can't wait to burst wow. Anyway, yeah, we were getting off topic.
Don't think we were.
Somehow. But no, I'll definitely be playing it when it comes out and streaming it most certainly. It'll be a bunch of fun and just seeing how it goes. Anyway, We were
Airbus is better
talking-
than Boeing.
we were talking about how we think the world would change. I think Delicious gave the best overview of how the world will be in 10 years.
Yeah.
And Agent Oink definitely gave a more detailed version of
Just a second.
an accurate version of an accurate representation of what potentially could go on, which is unfortunate. It is definitely not going in the best of ways at the moment, both politically and economic in all sorts of ways. The world is just not going up in the world, mind the pun. But there are stuff we can look forward to. As mentioned, you said batteries is definitely going to be an interesting one. I'm excited to see where hydrogen energy goes. It's more of a storage issue at the moment, especially for cars. You can store it in an efficient way, then it's a much better fuel.
It's not so much the storage as it is what's required around the storage. Just to be like even more clear on that.
Oh, safe. Yeah, like it's
Like actual like storing large amounts of gas is or like liquids is actually really quite easy nowadays. Like it's not cheap by any means, but it's not a problem to get high pressure storage. The problem is that you gotta cool it and you gotta have all those systems cooled, and then that becomes really energy intensive. And in a lot of cases, current hydrogen storage, like where like Shell have hydrogen at a lot of their larger garages now, like the actual energy required to keep the hydrogen there completely offsets the environmental benefits of driving hydrogen, which sucks. But
It
in the
does,
future, that will obviously change.
and obviously hydrogen's a great fuel. But it doesn't
Oh,
have
yeah.
any bad I can't remember the word, but like what it makes water and I want to say oxygen, but I'm gonna sound stupid.
Not really.
It's definitely what's it what am I thinking of? The byproducts of burning, not burning, but using hydrogen as a fuel is water.
Mm-hmm.
Is it just water? I can't remember. I'm going off a 2008 Top Gear news segment at the top of my head right now.
It depends on the method of fuel cell
Okay,
you're using,
yeah.
technically speaking, but it is mostly just water. Normally, you get a bit of oxygen loss as well because
But still, that's
things
good.
in science do not 100% absorb things.
It's not carbon dioxide, so it's much better than petrol or diesel. But as you said, yeah, it's just keeping it in the state where you can use it, I suppose, is not the best energy efficient. You don't want to burn more fuel to then,
Yeah, it's
Great.
complicated.
So I think
thing-
that's
the
why
thing
electric
is,
cars have
that's
definitely
only-
gone way higher.
It's important to note that's only a problem as well because hydrogen storage using energy is only a problem because our energy grid isn't green, right? If we had 100% green energy, then there's no problem that it's using energy to store the hydrogen. because it's still the most efficient, best method for cars. Because the range you get on hydrogen vehicles can be well above electric vehicles, if I am correct. So it's more just we like honestly with all things green, it's just massive industrial scale changes that need to happen, right?
And
it can't be like a small if one person's bought a hydrogen car every year. Like we need to completely replace the grid, completely replace our fuel infrastructure, and once we do that, like we're fine.
and it's like the same goes into what you were saying earlier. Is it really depends which comes first. If for electric cars we do have to change the whole system overall to benefit from it as well. But like if we can think of, or if we come up with a way where we can store a lot more energy in a denser matter, then electric cars are going to just be much more superior, because you're not going to need to worry about the range on them as much.
I agree with what was just said.
At the moment, electric cars, people don't realize this, but like Teslas, I would say average like a normal like a petrol car when it comes to range. Like when it comes to actual consumption.
The higher end electric cars are about on par with like average petrol and diesel cars, really.
Yeah.
For range,
Like when people say I'm not going to get an electric car because they don't run as far. Well,
I mean that's true of the cheaper ones.
If you're going to go for
any older
BMW,
ones.
With anything with cars, really.
Yeah. Or the Nano Leaf. Oh, fuck off that. So, but I feel like genuinely in the near future, electric cars are definitely the future.
I think BEV is the future. Yeah, battery electric vehicle for those that don't know.
Yeah.
But hydrogen fuel cell cars will become more viable. The thing is, hydrogen requires an even bigger infrastructural change than battery electric, because battery electric just requires points to charge. In other words, electrical outlets, which are everywhere, right? And sure, there's problems with that electricity not being green, but even if we convert to a grid, right, a completely green grid, fine, we can charge electric cars anywhere. That's easy. Hydrogen, we've got to get hydrogen to places, we've got to be able to store it, and all that stuff. At the same time, there are still plenty of advantages to hydrogen. Like it's higher range normally, it fills up in a few minutes, like petrol, versus what can be quite a long time charge electric car if you don't have a nice infrastructure in your house electrics.
Oh, that's actually another thing about batteries.
I'm not sure hydrogen will become the thing, to be honest. But
I personally think after battery vehicles, hydrogen will definitely be yeah. Unless we come up with a much better electrical system or like battery storage, because that's another thing, is if we can work on actually charging those batteries a lot faster, then maybe there is no need to go to hydrogen, because if we can store so much energy that these cars can go for thousands of miles on one charge and they only take a few minutes, then and that electricity comes from a green grid, then there's really no need to convert over, in my opinion. And obviously by that time, depending on how much technology's changed or whichever one we've gone into first, it's going to be dependent on which is the cheapest. At that time, maybe hydrogen cars are cheaper, but they've got slightly less range. But eventually we will get to a full, in my opinion, I personally think at some point we're definitely going to get to a full green vehicle state. So either it's going to be hydrogen, electric, and that'll be for trains, trucks, and hopefully eventually planes would be interesting to see, but that'll probably be one of the hardest at the moment.
In my opinion, like both technologies have serious issues, right? Battery electric vehicles, most batteries in the world that are being used in electric vehicles are still being constructed with cobalt, which is a big problem, not only because it's often mined in quite inhospitable ways in Africa, but also just that it's a rare earth metal that we're going to run out of. And that's not a good thing. It's not sustainable, which is the point. It doesn't, even if it's not necessarily inherently immediately bad for the environment, sustainability is another thing that has to go hand in hand with a green revolution, right? And constructing the batteries and cars themselves release an absolute shit ton of CO2 because of power and manufacturing processes and all the shit that goes into it. And the same on the other end for hydrogen. Hydrogen's not easy to collect. It's expensive to collect. And there are issues around collecting it. And sure, like technology is going to make that better because that's how technology works. But both technologies have issues. I think really what's more important in terms of like for the sake of the environment is it's not about like, do you drive a petrol car? How many people drive electric cars, right? Definitely the more people that drive electric cars, the better. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But really what is the most important and will make the biggest difference is just stopping the burning of all fossil fuels worldwide, right? Green electric grid in every single country worldwide, means that companies aren't using and burning shit that they shouldn't be, completely outlaw burning fossil fuels entirely. And it means that everyday power usage isn't using them. So even if you look at like cars, I think they make up like, I think it's like 20% of like the world overall emissions or something, like all the vehicles, like that's including trains and planes and shit, I believe. So like in comparison to like the 60% or whatever that just burning power things for power does, it's just so much more valuable to tackle that than it is cars. Definitely something that should happen anyway, but it's not priority number one.
And something I just want to say is, right, it doesn't go into as much detail as like it doesn't go into subsections like you just did there with cars and factories and all that, but a good video I highly recommend that recently came out is Up Is Not Jump's new climate change video. It's an absolute wonder to watch. He makes great content, and it's quite a good video just overviewing climate change in today's world, and how a lot of information we learned, or personally I learned in school, was misinformed. He definitely puts a good truth version of climate change on YouTube, and he did it for a great cause, raised a bunch of money as well, may I add, but he's just made a great video. So if you check out Up Is Not Jump's new climate change video, it's a great half an hour, if I'm not wrong, video. So highly recommend checking it out.
On that topic, if you do care about the environment just in general, sustainability, green clean energy, and more specifically electric vehicles and hydrogen vehicles and such, check out Fully Charged. You can get them at fullycharged.show or search Fully Charged Show on YouTube. It's run by Robbie
I want to say this, by the way, as well,
from Red Dwarf, and it's great. It's a fucking stellar show.
Yes, check him out. You're gonna love him if you're from Britain and you love Scrappy Challenge. That was where I've loved him from. That was my favourite show as a kid.
I mean, I don't think there's anything he's done that I have ever not.
No, yeah, he's just a great human being. But yeah, Fully Charged is a great show.
He's a gem. They did a really good video recently. It was like a month ago, actually. I say recently, but it was on a renewable house, which they had built so that it would basically lose as little heat as possible, and it used ground source heating. So it would, take water down into the earth. Water would get heated up, bring the water / steam back up, heat the house with it, and that meant that they basically 24/7, apart from the initial heating they had to do of the house, from that point on, they don't have to burn anything to get the house hot. It just stays hot. And sustainability and things like that in building should just be law, really, in the grand scheme of things. Ground source heating is something that's been done countrywide in the UK. We've done countrywide pretty much most of the planet, right? Every single gas burner that people have, central heating system, could just be ground source heated. One ground source heating pump can power an entire estate. It's just stupid that we have stuff the way we do. It's not like the easy go-to method, right? It's much easier just to take off the gas mains that already exist and take off the electric mains that already exist. There are solutions to these problems that we have, many solutions, and things like making houses more efficient is actually not that hard.
It's one of those things where we've done so much that going to this new source would just cost even more. In a governmentary mind, obviously they're not going to go and say, hey, we should do this because not everybody's going to agree with it. You're going to get a huge backlash of people saying, oh, that's not the way to go, or concentrate on other things, which is the unfortunate side of anything. Really, you're always going to get people saying no, and that's just what causes issues and makes stuff a lot harder than it should be. I feel like something like that is common sense and should have a majority of people saying yes, let's do this. But obviously the no's tend to stand out a lot more than the yeses. We've seen that a lot in this year, unfortunately, and it's what's caused a lot of issues and stops a lot of good things happening. But you talking about electric cars, because I know back in the day when we were back in school, we were hugely enthusiastic into Tesla at the time as well. I really want a Tesla car, would love one. If you got anything you really want to see happen in the next few years, in the near future? I know you kind of touched on it a little bit, but I would like to hear anything from Phelan. Is there
electric planes are going to be fucking dope. That's why.
Oh yeah.
And on side, I want a small Tesla. That might just be. I like small cars. To be fair.
Sort of so kind of like a Tesla version of the Nano Leaf then. A very small, sort of smart car size.
Better. Oh
yeah,
no, not
better.
smart car size. Let's not go crazy here.
I definitely want more like K car size electric vehicles.
Even more like better electric conversion kits would be fucking dope.
That would be cool, yeah. Electric planes
fair-
is definitely something I don't think people touch on too much.
Well, I mean, they're pretty far off.
It is very hard. It's again
in
energy.
terms of like most use cases. To be fair though, like I think the most significant thing for me would just be like better charge. Like obviously, better charging infrastructure has to come because charging needs to be faster and more accessible and easier. And actually, there's been some quite interesting developments. I can't remember the name of the company. God forbid, but if you look back for enough fully charged episodes, you will come across them a few times. But it is a network that runs like the equivalent to Tesla fast chargers worldwide across Europe for free if you have a membership. And the membership's like about the same as subscribing to the Supercharge network if you don't get it grandfathered in through the other methods of like purchasing the Model S and such. And like that's pretty cool to have, and more things like that, and then just cheaper, smaller electric cars. Like it's all cool having things like the Model S and Model X, right? And sure, the Model 3 and Model Y are definitely steps in the right direction, and I think Tesla will get there. But things like the Nissan Leaf, like it's just a standard car that you'd expect worldwide. That's a bit more accessible. It's a much more reasonable price, right? And just things like that. More just everyday people cars that are electric. Because right now there's a bit of a gimmick around a lot of them, and I think that's a problem.
Oh, it's also like even the cheaper ones are fairly expensive. It's just it's getting to that point where we can make that technology cheaper. Yes. Yeah. Like even the Nano Leaf, I think it's like 12K or something like that, brand new. Which for the average person isn't too accessible, especially like a young family. So it's one of those things that when they go cheaper, we're definitely going to see a bigger market in electric cars. Obviously, especially in the world as well, we need a better network. In the UK, we don't have the best electric car recharging network, especially where we are. There's not really many around.
I looked recently.
So.
It wasn't like top standard. It's surprisingly decent. Like
we've been improving a lot.
It's definitely a lot better. Like I never expected there to be one at my local Tesco, but there is. So you know, it's definitely getting a lot better than it was back when. Like I'm going literally. I remember looking into this when we were in school, and that was like good 4 or 5 years ago. Never mind, 4 years ago. Never mind. But still, like that was. The nearest one to us would have been a good hour drive when I looked then. It was about 100 miles, if I'm not wrong. And so they're getting a lot better.
I mean, yeah, there's now numerous in our area. Like,
yeah,
you could definitely now daily own one.
A Tesla battery is 120k to replace. Yes, but that's one of the things is that's like a very small use case of you needing to replace a battery in a car.
I'd also be saying at that point it would be a case of if you needed, because I'm just reading this here and I'm either misunderstanding or I've missed something somewhere. If it's gonna be 120k to replace, what currency are we talking? Like
dollars? I would have expected dollars.
I don't think that can be unless you're talking about possibly the Tesla, like the Powerwalls. But even then, I'd be.
If I'm not wrong,
hesitant.
I don't know if Tesla are keeping
I'd be
with
hesitant
this.
to say that purely because obviously, they get money towards their cars and things, but I doubt they'd sell their cars at that much of a loss.
Before Agent Oink goes into this, he's going to correct me on this, I just know it for a fact, but if I'm not wrong, at the moment, and I don't know how long they're going to do it, but at the moment, Tesla, it's free to recharge on their ultra chargers, I can't remember the name of them, superchargers, that's it. But also their service is free, so like if you have a puncture or something like that, they'd come out and fix it for you. I don't know if that's still going, but I knew back when I read about it, it was.
So, with the superchargers, it is, from what I'm aware, still free on if I don't actually know, it's free for people that already had it free. I know that
Yes.
much.
Yeah.
I think it's still free if you purchase a Model S or Model X. If you purchase a Model 3 or Model Y, however, you have to pay. Although it's still completely
Oh,
reasonable.
it's so much cheaper than petrol
comparison.
or diesel.
I think it costs about like £90
Mm.
to recharge a Model 3 or Model Y to full. Which I can't remember what the fucking range is on that.
Wait, that doesn't sound right.
Completely off the top of my head, that doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, because I swear, electric. The whole
in
point of
terms
electric
of
cars is they're so much cheaper to run.
Replacing Tesla batteries, from what I can understand and research here, it costs between $5,000 and $7,000 depending on what model you have to replace the battery modules. And in terms of servicing, I think they still do minor servicing for free because I think they basically have a warranty sort of system.
Okay, yeah, that I wasn't aware of at all. So that's pretty dope.
And I know that I know from what I've heard in general, Tesla are pretty helpful. Like if you have a problem, they'll just be pretty helpful. But I still think in general you are expected to pay for like advanced servicing and such. Obviously,
Yeah, like if it's like a tire, I'm if I could be wrong, but if it's like a flat tire or something like that, they'll definitely come out and help you, or you know, they'll give you support for it. But like if it's like if you, I don't know, like somehow lose an entire wheel or smash a window in, then that would be obviously on the premium side of stuff, and you'll have to pay for that. But Tesla is definitely very good, as you said, to just support the customer. They're definitely, I would say they're definitely one of the top when it comes to car manufacturers. That they just got a great support basis, and they're always there to help you. So you know, anybody who has an electric car, electric Tesla, always going to be helped, and that they're constantly working on their cars, even though, and this is something that I think people don't realize, is the majority of the cars, or it's all electric, so and it's online, so you can update it and constantly add features to it, fix features, you know, fine tune it, and with the cars are adding, you know, they're still a very young car company, so obviously their cars aren't to like Bentley standards, but they're still pretty good.
I mean, they've definitely made some improvements over the years. Like obviously when the Model S came out, there was a lot of hype around it because it was a cool piece of kit, and it still is. Yeah. But if you watch some critical reviews of Model S, there's a whole host of issues. You know, the texture work on the inside is terrible, the lining around the doors and windows is terrible, etc. All of that has got better, and with the newer models, they've designed them in a way to make it even better than they can make it on the Model S. And things like a Model Y, you know, interior is way nicer, way more clean. The whole car's way more clean. Tesla have come a long way. Yeah. And while all of their vehicles are pretty, you know, obviously high end so far, like I would even consider Model Y like high end. Like sure, your Gravis is not as high end as like the Model S or X, but it's definitely still above standard price point in my opinion. But it's still like a nice vehicle, and that, you know, it's treated well. It rarely breaks down. They get over the air updates. You know, they're really smart and intelligent, so it's not just your standard basic old petrol computer that's got like a brake warning light when something might possibly be going on your brakes. Actually, you probably just went over a speed bump at 35 and something got a bit upset. Like they're a bit smarter, you know, and just in general, they're just very advanced technologically and computer-wise, so they're pretty easy to maintain from what I hear.
They are pretty goddamn dope.
So looking at this, by the way,
waiting for the Semi and the Roadster next.
This is from official Tesla. They charge 24 pence per kilowatt. And the average Model Y has a 75 kilowatt battery, which is £18 per charge.
That's more like it.
So that's how much you'll be paying per charge, and I think that would last you. Let me find range numbers on the Model Y. Cheapest one, if I'm not wrong, does 230 miles. So it's about £18 for 230 miles. Which isn't too bad for an electric car in today's standard.
Model Y performance is 298 and Model Y long range is 314, but that's obviously reported, so it will realistically be not a lot less, but it will be less than that.
That's like the best, but like we'll say about 200 miles for the standard. which is like £18. I don't know how much petrol costs because I don't drive a car,
And
but I want to say it's about 20. Actually, let's ask the person,
Wait.
the only person who here.
No.
who tries.
You get to guess. Come
I
on,
was
how
gonna,
much do you
I was
think?
gonna say, after seeing some people like I don't drive myself, I would say it's like average like £20.
You'd say it's what, sorry?
Average £20. I don't know. How much does your car
For what? That's a very.
to refuel? I don't know. I'm just going off like no. I don't know. How much does your car normally cost when you refuel it?
Well, I don't think I've ever filled up the tank fully. But from what I have done, on a normal non-coronary basis, you'd probably be looking at, I'd imagine, £35, maybe a bit more.
Okay, I didn't expect it to be that high.
I remember mine's quite a small car, the
Yeah.
small tank. So
That surprised
I
me.
used to own quite a large tank sedan. It was an old thing,
Mm.
and it was pretty guzzly on the fuel. And I can 100% say to get that to if we were going on a long trip and we were filling the tank from like near bottom to top, we'd be looking at 50 upwards pounds, normally at 50 to 55, depending on fuel prices at the time. Fuel is pretty
So,
pricey.
Corporal has a truck that
Especially
has
in the UK.
a 2100 gallon
2 100 gallon.
two 100 gallon trucks, but still to fill them fully it's $350.
Yeah.
Oh,
I remember then, of
fuck.
course, there's a difference between American gallons and
Yeah.
Yeah, which is what I'm
proper
getting now.
gallons.
But still,
Thank you.
that's a
Well, there's
lot of
imperial
money.
gallons, metric gallons, and US liquid gallons.
Let's please, it's not.
But yeah, okay. So overall,
that would
Teslas.
be-
Overall, electric cars are cheaper, and a majority of people will charge them at home as well. So it just tends to go onto a bill.
That would be 757 litres,
Excellent, thank you.
Okay.
which is a
That's
term
pretty
that we
dope.
Brits can understand.
Yeah.
Mm.
I still think we should go to.
Oh, you should have used the bot. Or does that only do currency?
No, it only
It
does currency.
currencies.
Oh, that's so I hate that bot so much. I'm sorry.
Actually, you know what we can do?
Hang
Wait.
on, no, we'll do it.
Okay.
How you doing,
Hey,
Cara?
Carl.
It's good to see you today.
This is how you convert between US imperial gallons and.
Oh,
Ah,
but that
litres,
didn't
right?
work.
Yeah, I don't know why I wrote 2 in there. I literally wrote the letter 2. It's the biggest brain play.
I do that occasionally. I'm like, oh, that's fucking funny, mate.
Gosh.
Right, there we go.
That's perfect. Exactly how it works.
Oh wait, we put the wrong fucking number in. I was copying yours.
It's all your fault,
It's
Charles.
going alright for me, Carl. Thanks.
350 USD
We're
to
just
GB.
converting in case you can.
I love you.
What?
You typed it the wrong way.
Oh, USB. No, I put USB.
Not quite USB.
Right, one more attempt. Sorry, lads. Right, do you want to carry on or
No, we
Um,
should probably still carry
whoops.
on. That's,
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I'll let if you have something else you want to say, then you're welcome.
Nothing in particular. Just in general. I
I
don't
was-
like as much as I love Tesla cars. Because I think they're innovative.
surprisingly,
And-
he is.
Yeah, I'm
It's
sorry.
becoming more and more necessary to
There you go.
point out anytime I support SpaceX or Tesla on this podcast, I would like to make
Ah.
it very clear and accurately represented that I fucking despise Elon Musk and wouldn't give a shit if he fell off a
Oh,
cliff and died.
he
As
has.
for everyone else that has actually done loads of the innovation at Tesla and at SpaceX, and all of the engineers and staff and programmers and everyone that works there and the flight attendants, and I'm sure that's what we're calling them, like everyone just absolutely stellar.
They are a great company.
Elon Musk's a twat. Just need to get it out of the way.
Elon Musk is he started off 3 great companies. I don't know if he started off PayPal.
He co-founded it.
He
so-
co-founded it. So he started off 3 great
He
companies and
was correct,
co-founded one. But he has been proven to do business with Jeffrey Epstein, and
Has he? I mean, I don't think we should.
okay, so
Say
there's
that.
okay. I
We're
saw.
We're definitely not touching.
It's
I'm
not-
not touching
it's
on these
not
allegations.
confirmed. But I saw.
The non-lawyer here would like to give the small statement that Tactical TV is referencing allegations
Yeah, okay,
Mhm.
that
allegations.
Elon Musk has had relations with Jeffrey Epstein, the estranged and horrible person that he is.
And
these are not facts.
I saw in the news today that
I'm only bringing this up because you know that guy he got angry about on Twitter?
Yeah.
He's now mentioned him in a separate lawsuit.
Oh,
Like a lawsuit, Elon Musk and a random person now mentions this other guy that got angry on Twitter. So we got to
Wow.
be careful. I'm just saying, by the way, that's allegations from Ken Klippenstein on Twitter, not some of my own statements.
Okay. And also apparently Ghislaine, is it Ghislaine? I've heard her name. I've heard her name pronounced so many different times.
Ghislaine.
Yeah. I can't remember how this American pronounced her name, but it made me laugh. But yeah, Ghislaine. She is now saying that she was like she's denying anything about what she did. Apparently.
Well, yeah.
That's going to be interesting to see.
Known too many people to jump to it and be like, oh yeah, that was me.
Actually, true. Yep, I'm done. Just take me. But no. So something we were talking about earlier is how if we wanted to go to a hydrogen-based like system with cars, we would have to change the entire grid more or less. How like talking about other things? How do you think we could change the world? How do you, is there anything else you think we could do to really benefit like governments or countries and stuff like that?
Transport, to keep sort of similarly on topic but move it forward. I think that we've obviously spent a lot of this so far discussing electric cars and hydrogen cars and who would likely own them and want them and who should own them and how much they should cost, blah 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 blah. The reality is that people shouldn't own cars, right? We need to pedestrianize pretty much the world because there's already too many roads and shit, and we have public transport, and with good public transport infrastructure, people don't need individual cars to transport themselves, right? And it's way more efficient to burn fossil fuels in a bus to transport 20 30 people than it is to transport 1 to 4 in a car, right? So even in a case where we are still burning fossil, say nothing changes, electric cars don't even exist, it would still be better to just get rid of most people's cars, right? Pedestrianize most of the country and then have good public transport infrastructure for links, right? So the example of this is, take London, right? There are loads of major shopping streets in London that have roads down the middle of them. Scrap the roads, just make it a pedestrian walking space, and London has good enough public transport that it wouldn't really be a problem for people getting around. So it's for the people in cars, but who cares? Mostly, like they can just go around London or go up through different methods, or like if they're local to London and you're driving into town centre, you just don't do that. Most Londoners don't anyway.
To be devil's advocate, and I'll be interested to see what you two say on this. If that was the case, where we did basically get rid of all cars, all roads, or not all roads, but all cars, and made roads. Public transport the basically the best way or the only way you get around long distance.
Public transport, no roads.
What would happen? What would happen if we had this pandemic, like where being in a crowded area was not seen as something you should do?
I mean, obviously, this touches on a whole host of other issues in how I would have dealt with a pandemic if I was in charge of the UK, which apparently I'm going to be. According to the opening
I'm glad you listened to that.
According to who? What?
In the opening intro, Tactical listed off a series of things that he thinks is going to happen to the host of the podcast, and mine was I'm going to be PM in 10 years.
Yeah, and Ash is going to try and take you down.
Yep.
Did you not hear? Did you not? Wait, so before we go on to this, did you not hear yours, Phelan?
No, I don't know how.
Okay, so yours is. This is my prediction. The Clip It podcast crew will spend the next 10 years figuring out how I made it to #1 streaming. And they're going to try and look at taking me down. However, because of a small fight, it causes you to lose £2 billion.
2 billion?
Yeah, £2 billion.
No!
That's what I think is going to happen in the next 10
to the point where I can lose £2 billion, that'd be great.
I mean, yeah.
You heard him, people. Start donating. 2 billion's the goal.
What would that look like on the graph? It's like tiniest amount. Anyway, would you like to carry on, Agent Mike?
So, in the event that I had been in control and learned about the pandemic, right? I would have had a very sort of harsh response. I would wait until data suggested that, COVID was securely in the UK, it had seeded into the population, and it was starting to spread rapidly. And I would enter a very, very strict lockdown, completely just halting near enough everything for probably around a month to 2 months, depending on how long it took. No travel in or out of the country. And at that point, the virus stopped spreading in the country, right?
Yep.
Pretty much everyone that's got it will get it, have it treated. And then when you start reopening, have heavy contact tracing, or die, sadly. Will have heavy contact tracing, right? So that the few people that might still have it, it might be asymptomatic, right? They go through, have heavy contact tracing in place so we can isolate and force those people to be in quarantine while the rest of the population continues to reopen. And basically nothing would really happen.
So Carl says that would be dumb. You would go bankrupt or have huge credit. So that's basically the UK in its current state.
Yeah, the UK has done the opposite of that, which was abandoning. I'm going to be very clear here: abandoning testing in the first place and abandoning contact tracing and saying that they weren't useful, taking a method of herd immunity. For the first 3 months of the pandemic, then suddenly reversing and entering a moderate lockdown where you're only meant to be outside your house for essential travel, but it wasn't exceptionally strictly enforced and there was no requirement for face coverings. We're now getting a requirement for face coverings after the lockdown is ending, and that is not applying for a few weeks, and we have some of the worst economic damage in the world.
Yes.
And it's likely that we're going to get a second spike and have to re-enter lockdown if the government wants to reduce the death of the population, which frankly is a 50-50. So the problem is that not locking down or having a minimal lockdown results in economic damage, yes, and then things start to look bad, and you look at the economics of your country and go, well, shit, this ain't good. We're going to start reopening. The problem is then you start reopening, then you get a second spike, and then you have to lock down again. That causes even more detrimental economic damage. The UK government's worker retention scheme, where they're paying 80% of people's wages, is ending soon. When that happens, there are going to be mass layoffs. There's already been layoffs in some of the biggest UK corporations in the thousands. The economic damage from how we have handled it is already bad enough. If we had just entered a 2-month lockdown and done fuck all, everyone that can work from home can, this wouldn't be a problem. The country could reopen. We wouldn't have COVID in the country. And sure, we have to lock off international travel for quite a while because, we can't rely on our neighbours to do as well. But it wouldn't have been an issue. You can see this pretty much in demonstration, like across different countries, like South Korea did a pretty good job of it, although they were prepared for a whole host of other reasons. There's a lot of complex reasons why South Korea did a good job.
I've got a few things I want to say after
Germany,
you.
Germany did well, relatively.
To a point, then it just spiked. I still don't know what caused that spike. I've yet to look into it.
Well, a lot of Europe had a lot of spikes, yeah.
Germany did.
Complication.
But yeah,
I think Germany did well more because Germany has a very different political space to the UK.
They're not trying to leave the fucking EU.
Better than me, but obviously you've had the Grand Coalition for quite some years. But like, I think just in general, a lot more people wore face masks without it being necessary. Like, I know as of now, the face mask wearing in Germany is 60% of the population average, I think, all the people that go out. And in the UK, it's still like 25%, which is terrible. So I think there's a whole host of other contributing factors that changed. The UK is a bit more Americanized in individualism and not caring about other people in that.
Yeah, it's again. So like again, I don't want to get too political, but we were having other issues before this whole pandemic happened. So that definitely didn't help us when it comes to any economic state. Also, we literally, to sum up what the UK government did in a few terms, we did everything just 2 weeks late. And the government literally said on all of their points, these are the rules, do them if you want. Yeah. Quite literally. They're not like, okay, this is what we're doing. They're like, well, if you want to survive, you can do this. We recommend it. You don't have to, though. If you want to go to work, you can, but...
There's also things like, I'm not sure how it would be in Germany, Carl, but we had shortages of PPE, personal protective equipment, in all of our hospitals. I imagine in Germany that probably didn't happen, because I would have guessed that Germany was in the EU PPP scheme, which we refused to be in because... PPP, yeah, sure. We can't say PPP now, the EU PPE scheme. So even like, okay, so you had a shortage there, but you would have at least had a method of getting it. Whereas we basically just didn't have a method of getting it. We delivered thousands of stuff that was out of date and unusable. Then we took people that had COVID and put them into care homes without testing them. And that just resulted in loads of people in care homes dying.
And at which point he
And then blame the
blamed,
care
yeah,
homes.
blaming the care homes.
And like, oh god, it was a disaster.
It was
honestly. Like,
horrific.
but you know what? Right? Sure, we didn't decide to cooperate with the EU for getting PPE to all EU countries because fuck Brussels. Go. We don't like Brussels. They're in Belgium.
Honestly, like literally, our government was 2 weeks late. Told us you can do it, but you don't have to. And being the UK and people in the UK are very, what's the kind word to say?
English.
Yeah, very. No, it's not English. It's
I want to point out that the Scottish haven't had many of the problems that
No,
the rest of England has, and Wales hasn't, and Northern Ireland haven't.
so let's reword this. The English have been very. It's not that word. It's cuntish. There we go. You know, they haven't. It's just awful how it's going. It's
Great how Charlie's developed over the last few years.
It's great.
It really is.
But yeah, no, we've definitely failed as a country. If we just actually, I'm not going to get too political. I hate.
I mean, it's a complex issue.
Yeah.
COVID's a very complex issue because it affects so much, right?
Yeah.
It's people's health. It's
Physical
it's
and
your
mental.
country's economy. It's different governmental styles. I mean, we can see how America's like, and I think no matter whether we're discussing which country in Europe has the best or worst response, I'm pretty sure all of Europe can just look at America and go, "Ah, you sweet summer child."
I'm sorry,
like,
Corporal, but it's true. Only just put a mask on.
America is a soup of just chaos when you get a global pandemic, right? A government that doesn't sort of pseudo function and doesn't obviously get involved because the government has very minimal interaction in America and sort of isn't willing to make massive decisions, and obviously a lot of population also don't want that, and then the healthcare system kind of sucks, and it's just shit for everyone.
I just want to go. So, Carl, that is a really good system. At the moment in the UK, we have a very similar system, but I haven't actually heard about it too much. So, from what I heard, when they were reopening in pubs and restaurants, I heard that, I don't know if it was a legal requirement, but pubs would get your personal information, so like address, name, and maybe phone number, and they only did that for pubs and restaurants. However, I only know of one pub that's done that, and that being Weatherspoons. As far as I'm aware, no other pub, no other restaurant I've heard of has done it. Though probably restaurants are a bit more likely to do it, but none of the local pubs I've heard have actually started to do that, which is really stupid. A lot of the stores, or I'm pretty sure every store where I live, has hand sanitizer at the door, and highly recommend you use it when you go in and when you come out. Though when I see people walking in, I would say a good 10 to 20% actually use that hand sanitizer, which is kind of annoying to see, because I'm like, I'm going in there, I'm cleaning my hands so people don't have to worry about what I touch. I'm also cleaning my hands when I go out, so then if there's, because I know people go in there and don't use hand sanitizer and probably haven't used hand sanitizer in their entire life, which really annoys me. The least they can do is just put a little squirt on the hand, rub it. The least they could do is wear a fucking mask. You never know. It's really silly, and the fact that you have a good registration system with shops, and I hope that's in the majority of shops in Germany. We should really do something a bit more similar, but the government again have probably been like, yeah, okay, so I guarantee you by next week they'll be like, so we're going to slightly let go of the rule of, you have to wear face masks. If you want to wear face masks, we highly recommend it. But you don't have to. But if you want to stay safe, we recommend you wear a face mask. However, if you've got issues, you don't want to, you don't have to. That's literally going to be what they say. So, you can get charged for attempted murder for not wearing a face mask. In the UK, you get charged. So, at the moment, obviously, this is happening next week, so it could change. You never know. But at the moment, the rules are you have to wear a face mask in all shops. If you don't, and you don't comply, you get fined £100. However, if you pay it within the first 14 days, it goes down to 50.
Hell yeah!
Which is basically every fine in the UK. Hey, we're gonna fine you, though. If you pay it within a few days, it's gonna half. So, but again, I was saying to my sister, how much do you think they're gonna make off this, and are they gonna enforce it? I feel like they're not.
I think they'll try, but
They'll try, but
I
it's
think the
very
main
hard
thing's going to
to.
be people getting kicked out of or just straight not up allowed into shops in the first place.
Yeah, no, that's the one thing I was talking to you earlier about it, Phelan, is it's going to cause a lot more stress on staff, and it's unnecessary stress. It's a good rule, but the fact they're like, okay, so shops should enforce it, that's just too much stress on these underpaid, or a lot of these underpaid staff. A lot of them are probably not going to give two shits and just let them buy, or just leave it to someone else to deal with. Maybe security if they have.
I ain't gonna let them buy, and I sure as hell don't have security.
And this is one thing that really does annoy me, and I don't understand it, but it really annoys me, is the fact that these rules, may I add, and this is in the UK, and it could change, but these rules, as it stands, don't apply to staff. Customers have to wear masks. It's mandatory at the moment, or next Friday. It's mandatory for customers to wear masks or face protection. They don't really specify. It's like
face coverings.
Yeah, they say face coverings, but they don't say what ones. They advise you not to use medical ones because we want to try and save as much PPE for medical staff, which makes sense. But from what I've seen in my local town, the majority of people have surgical or medical masks. But the fact that staff aren't required to or isn't mandatory, it just seems a bit backwards. I would have thought, the UK government would have went, okay, we're going to try and get everybody to wear face masks because then that limits, or it lowers the risk so much more. And again, it kind of goes against that. It kind of goes to that point of, yeah, okay, so we're going to get this rule, but if you don't want to do it, you don't have to. It's like, if you have common sense, you're going to wear a mask as a customer,
as a
staff.
Response can sort of be summarised in, right as this pandemic was sort of kicking off in the UK, the scientists that basically advised the government in emergencies, which were known in the UK as SAGE, basically went, so we highly recommend that we stop, shaking hands and try and start to maintain some sort of social distance. And Boris Johnson went on live TV and said, I shook everyone's hand in a hospital. And then 2 weeks later came down with COVID.
I love that.
He's an idiot.
And my favourite thing about that, sorry, may I add, but it's again politics. My favourite thing about that is the fact that they had a revote and they told everybody has to come in and do a revote. And what happened when they brought all of the not politicians, but all of the MPs in? One of them had COVID.
All right, I'm gonna be back in a minute.
But yeah, they said all MPs and all people come in and do this vote, and then one of them had it. One of them had it. Like that's the UK government in a nutshell.
I mean, there was also then once the this was while the lockdown was still 90% on. Like hundreds of people. There was what I like to call the British Karen. Hundreds of people, I say hundreds, hundreds upon hundreds of people went to multiple beaches across the UK. But Bournemouth, a beach in the UK, was particularly covered. The whole beach was just covered in people. No masks, no social distancing. It was awful.
Can you give you my audio?
And there was a news interview of the British Karen. It went quite famous, where she was just like, we thought we'd come out to the beach today, and I'm not really sure why everyone's here. There is a pandemic going on. It's like, well, why are you there?
No, honestly,
it's so good.
that one beach came out with some of the best interviews. I don't know if you saw the one of that really big muscly guy. He's like, what did he said something stupid like, oh, I don't understand why people keep coming to the beaches. It's a bloody pandemic. He's like, are you doing this because you want to be on TV or you genuinely want to be on the beach? I don't understand. You've already had corona. Most people probably have. It's one of those things where, you might have it. You don't really feel you don't feel the effects of it because it affects everybody differently. And I don't know how all countries are dealing with this, but I know UK recently have got new holiday rules. So it used to be if you went on holiday or you came back from another country, you had to be isolated for 2 weeks. But if I'm not wrong, that's now stopped from France, Spain, Portugal, and maybe Germany. Which is still a very stupid rule because it's like.
So to clarify that, anyone entering the UK for a long time was expected to self-quarantine for 2 weeks. The problem with that is that no one in airports in the UK had any idea how it worked. There was no enforcement whatsoever, and basically it just worked in that if you were coming to the UK, we hoped that you would do it out of your own will. I remember there was a story of a dude arriving in the UK. I think he might have been from Germany, actually. But he came into an airport and he had paperwork on him. And he was like, I've got my paperwork. They gave this to me on the other end, like for my 2 week self-quarantine. And all the staff in the UK were just like, what? We didn't know what you're on about. And he was like, we got 2 weeks. Who do I take this to? And they were like, well, yeah, we didn't know. And they just walked off like, well, okay then. So it's been pretty rough over here in terms of our thing. It's definitely good that Germany has a requirement on testing for travellers.
Yeah. Like you can come into the UK now from Germany, but you don't have to isolate. But if you go to Germany, they don't want to risk shit. They want to keep their country somewhat safe. Yeah. Honestly, the UK have been very just naive on this whole matter. And my favourite man, George Eustace, as we like to call him, George Useless, he was on the news the other day saying that he was on the news today saying, you should wear masks. We see that people have worry, but you should wear masks. And that's basically what he said, apart from some other mumbo jumbo which repeated. This is something I remember. I was watching Boris Johnson today. I do apologise. I was watching Boris Johnson today, and the amount of times he said and it's like he doesn't know what he wants to say.
Well, that's part of his character, isn't it?
He just doesn't. He's worse. He's somehow worse at public speaking than as the mentioned Elon Musk, and I don't think that was possible.
Our Prime Minister Boris basically said that it's very likely we'll be getting some regulation on face coverings, and that it's probably going to become requirement to have face coverings on in public places. And then. Like I think it was like the literal evening after or morning after, Michael Gove, who is Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster, which is very British, came on and said that we shouldn't wear face masks on national television, and everyone was just like, "What the fuck is going on? Like, are we wearing face masks? Are we not wearing face? Who knows? The government doesn't know." And then Boris Johnson probably fell down some stairs or something.
Probably. He does always. He says something and then backs on it. He says a point and then says something to then make that point completely useless. That's I think his biggest trope. And as anybody who lives in the UK knows, Boris Johnson said, we're making masks mandatory in shops now, and then all that's come out of this is, why have you done this 2 weeks late? Quite literally, all that's been said in the House of Parliament, is you've done this too late. And then they haven't said much more. So who is Boris? Boris Johnson is our Prime Minister. He is, how do you describe him? Imagine Trump, not as...
How do we avoid describing him?
Oh, yeah. Imagine Trump, but he's not as war savvy. There you go.
Okay, I think...
Oh.
I'm back in business.
What the hell happened to you?
Yeah, no, Carl, the UK is...
That was a small spillage.
Yep, I could tell. I heard a glass and a bunch of... It sounded like a huge glass and a lot of water.
My carpet's wet. I'm not sorted at all.
Yep.
How was the carpet wet?
So,
that's not good.
yeah, no, our country isn't doing too well.
Oh, it's dripping off me down.
And,
UK is just a disaster.
No.
And my favourite thing going on, this was going on during the mid-lockdown, was...
It's worse than I thought.
How...
It's all under my HOTAS.
How they...
Oh, God.
They wanted... They hid the fact
Logitech
that...
cover water damage?
No.
Or squash damage?
It was squash, oh God.
Of course it was squash.
It's going to be sticky, mate.
Yeah, I know.
You actually wanted to travel to the UK this summer? I'm glad you didn't.
Bad idea.
Yeah.
Always a bad idea.
But, what was I going to say? I genuinely can't remember now.
Okay, so donate now to get Delicious a new desk.
And me
and potentially a new HOTAS.
Yay! Donate to Tactical TV to get him a new Go LXR.
If we said Girl XR.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Something about Boris Johnson. I genuinely can't remember.
He likes painting model buses.
Oh, that was my favourite. Okay, so for context, he was being interviewed. He says, "What do you do as a hobby?" And he just came out with, "I like to paint model buses." You could see in the interview he's trying to think what's a normal public human thing to do as a hobby. Not football, not tennis, not golf. Painting model buses. Do you think he puts?
If he said golf, he'd have got ragged on for that.
Do you think he writes lies on the model buses? Do you think he just writes that we spend 360 million?
Yeah, that's how he brainstorms them.
Your plan was to sail with your friend. Oh, that would have been lovely, to be honest. Sailing is a beautiful thing to do. Yo. So you make model tanks. That's much cooler than making model buses. That's the other thing
please
people
don't
don't
be
understand is the fact that we've got a prime minister. We voted in a prime minister who blatantly put up a huge campaign that was a massive lie.
Define voted in.
Okay,
Because there's issues with the UK parliamentary election system, which is complicated, and I'm not going to get into. But
yeah, not as
Yeah.
Oh, it's not as worse as America's, but let's not get
more
into that.
people voted not for him than voted for him.
Yeah, it's and this is something people don't do. I feel like too many people do this in the UK. Is they vote for the person, not the party.
Oh, absolutely.
And this is something a lot of the
that's
younger
the thing
generations
worldwide.
is. Yeah, it's a lot of the younger generations have to deal with. The fact that, no offense, but a lot of the older generation vote because they like Boris Johnson or they like going back Margaret Thatcher or David Cameron. They don't vote for the party or their rules.
It's an interesting order to do things in. but-
Yeah, I could have gone actual order, but I chose to
So-
go for different people at different times anyway.
I was gonna say before I was
Major.
so wetly interrupted,
Okay, that was not needed.
I found it. Bloody hell! It's
You found
everywhere.
it?
I found some quotes about the face mask situation in response to questions that the public have been asking. So I hope I didn't miss this whilst I was away. And someone asked, why don't the staff have to? Why isn't it mandatory for them? And so I've got some quotes here if you'd like.
Oh god.
I can understand some of them if people don't want to wear a mask all day.
Well, this is. Shut up. This is from George Eustace.
Our favourite man.
So let's have a look. I'll read out two quotes. It won't always be right for every setting in a retail environment. I'm not quite sure what that means. The other quote I've got here is he argues that retailers have to make the right judgments.
Yeah, again.
Oh, sorry, have been making the right judgments.
Oh, okay.
They've not really been making judgments, having been locked down.
Something I did want to say. I went to a charity shop today, and I was talking to the
Okay,
cashier.
Dry.
Lovely people, absolutely lovely people. And this guy I was talking to, I asked him the question of what do you think about this face mask, the new face mask regulations. And he said that it's going to be quite. He personally thinks it's going to be annoying, because we're going to have to wear masks all day. Which I can kind of understand. Obviously, not everybody wants to wear a mask all day, so.
It's not that bad, to be fair.
But yeah, it's been scientifically proven that it doesn't reduce the amount of oxygen you get in, even though that's stupid stuff. Can I just say one thing though?
Yeah, I just wanted to pass. Sorry, a good thing I should have done is I probably should have linked the article. Here's the BBC article with the quotes
Okay.
that I just stated.
So
I can't send it because I can't press enter because I've turned my keyboard off temporarily.
Oh.
Oh, there we go. I can still click.
something I just wanted to do was find some beautiful quotes from our amazing Prime Minister. And the first quote I found, I feel like sums him up in a nutshell.
Is it the severely racist one?
No, it's a very sexist one, which is this is Boris Johnson, by the way, our current Prime Minister. Voting Tory will cause your wife to have bigger breasts, increase your chances of owning a BMW M3.
Hell yeah. I'm assuming that's not a direct quote.
I mean, yeah.
I'd be interested to
No,
see
Boris Johnson probably, but
It's once again worse than I expected.
No? Okay.
apparently he said to a taxi driver in 2015, "Why don't you fuck off and die?" I hope that's true.
To be fair, there have been some taxi drivers that I've thought that about. Not said it to them. But,
that is a legitimate quote of Boris, by the way.
Did he
Hell
genuinely
yeah.
say that?
Yep.
Okay.
He has
What's
said
it-
a lot worse than that.
Oh no, yeah, I saw one here, and I'm like, I'm not going to read that, but it is pretty funny.
Oh yeah, there are a lot of quotes on here I literally cannot say because they would not be safe for
This is
Twitch.
one I genuinely remember hearing him say, which was, this was in 2013, by the way, and this is, I don't know what a pint of milk costs, so what? It's like, that is upper class in a nutshell. Well, do you want to hear a quote on what he said about Putin?
Oh God.
Despite looking like, despite looking a bit like Dobby, the house elf, he is a ruthless and manipulative giant. Boris Johnson. So.
I mean, he's not
can you
wrong,
send a
to be
link?
fair, on that
You
one.
can try and send a link, but it probably will be caught. Oh yeah. Okay. So here's I'm not going to read this quote, but this is a quote from 2018 about a Muslim woman. You probably guess
What
where
an
that's going to go.
interesting link. It's a PDF. So
Do I wanna?
tell you what,
Open
whilst
that?
you do that, I'm going to have to go get more drawing materials so I can get in my keyboard a bit better. Just a moment. I also put
Oh,
the
okay.
tutorials
This
up.
is quite an interesting one. Oh, thanks for that, Corporal. I'm the slowest reader possible, so that. I just want to read more quotes. Wait. This was in 2019. On child
Which
abuse investigations. 60 million I saw was being spaffed. That's a word.
Okay.
Spaffed up a wall. On some investigations into historic child abuse. Why would he ever use the word spaffed?
I just got back to hear the word spaffed.
Yeah, that's a word.
Intrigued.
What a word Boris Johnson used.
Nice.
I mean, it's a pretty up there thing that he said.
Oh, this is the best. How
He does a lot of
he
proper-
describes Hillary Clinton in the way everybody should. Honestly,
Oh no.
this is in 2007, and he describes Hillary Clinton as she's got dyed blonde hair and pouty lips, and a steely blue scare, like a sadistic nurse in a mental hospital.
Oh yeah.
Again, still not the worst shit that he said, but I really can't say it on
Oh
stream.
no,
so...
I'm staying away from what he's said.
Oh God. Oh yeah, I just need to reiterate that this is not anywhere near as bad as it gets.
I think I was once given cocaine. You don't say that as someone who's in any power.
No, it's been factually proven that he's taken cocaine before.
But this is
like most members in British politics.
This is a genuine quote. I think I once was given cocaine, but I sneezed so it didn't cut my nose. In fact, it may have been icing sugar. That's a man who said something.
Give you icing. You know what?
Yeah, no, that's a man who said something, realised what he
Oh, good,
said,
it was my cocaine. Sorry.
and then tries to back on it. So, also,
Yeah.
this is okay. This isn't that bad, but again, it goes into
Dry
like,
between my keys.
he doesn't know how to say stuff. He said, "I'm down with the ethnics."
Yep.
Yeah, that's enough from Boris Johnson.
Yeah.
Actually, genuinely, this is one of my favourite things. Have you? Me and Alfie were looking at these because it is genuinely amazing. The Ministry of Health for Belgium is one of the nicest people I've ever seen. However, I wouldn't trust them as a Ministry of Health.
I mean, they're not the Ministry of the Health themselves.
Okay, so yeah, no, we did look into this. There are more people of it. I can't remember what sector she's in. I'm going to do more research, but she's part of the Ministry of Health. But I don't know
Oh,
what
I
bit
never
she
dried
does.
my carpet.
Let me find out
Oh
quickly.
my God.
This gets
Every
worse.
time.
I'm gonna go back and get some more stuff to dry my carpet.
I can't actually remember
back
which
in
part
my-
she is.
Oh, you know what? I'll just use my towel. I don't care. I'll just throw them in the water.
Right, here we go. She is Ministry of Social Affairs and Public Health, which is
Honestly,
lovely, but
the UK is the problem with the UK, Carl, is that it's more our voting system
You know what? I'll just leave it.
and issues like that. Like it's kind of similar to America. You can win our voting system by winning votes in certain areas of the UK in like a very strategic way, and that's what the Tory party tends to do. But yeah, anybody that's sort of like in that class is pretty worrying.
we just have a
Normally.
really
It's pretty
dodgy.
chaotic.
No matter what one, unless you're
Green
going to
calling
vote
me
Green or the Looney Party, you're always going to be with a bad
Put it
party.
like this as well, Carl. Like a lot of UK elections, if they had been,
Let me disable
you
my
know,
keyboard.
if they'd been representative of the actual like votes, if you know every one vote was worth one in the actual count, a lot of the times we'd end up with something similar to Germany, right? We'd have like a grand coalition between like Labour, Lib Dem, and Green. Lib Dem stands for Liberal Democrats. But what tends to happen, because we're opposed to a party working together, there has to be one winner and one winner only. It's the British way. The Tories just end up winning, the Conservative Party as they're formerly known, because you couldn't possibly have parties with opposing interests work together.
We've only had that happen twice, haven't we?
You know, we've had coalitions more than twice. It's just they're pretty rare.
Yeah, because I remember one was David Cameron, wasn't it? If I'm not wrong.
I mean, having like a coalition in Germany between the Union and Social Democrats are two parties that aren't like, you know, purely opposed to each other, but they definitely don't align. Whereas when you get a coalition in the UK, it tends to be two parties that just align pretty much exactly the same, and it's still rare enough because there still tends to have to be one winner. And it's just kind of stupid. System. And pretty much every time we get a coalition, it's only so that one group can 100% of the time always pass the law that they want, rather than having to like get some votes from the other side.
Yeah. Also, if you've got over 40 parties, I feel like a coalition is more realistic. Because you've got so many parties being voted for.
I mean, I think it's better that parties work together, right?
Oh, definitely.
Only for you, Carl.
30% of the population, right, voted for this party, then you would hope that 30% of the representation in Parliament is from that party, because, you know, that just makes sense, right? Like, I can't remember. I was gonna get a random example here.
The Looney Party.
So like, if you were to compare this in like the UK, sorry, I'm getting some numbers up just to be clear. So in the UK, in order of votes, it went 43 for the last election, which was in 2019. 43.6% of the population, or of the voter turnout, sorry, voted for the Conservative Party. 32.1% voted for the Labour Party, and then 11.6% voted for the Liberal Democratic Party. Whereas if you compare that to Germany, it goes 32.9% for the Union, 20.5% for SPD, 12.6% for AFD, and then 4.8%, 8.6%, 8.4% for the rest. And it's like, that's just so much more distributed, right? I read that wrong. 10.7%, 9.2%, 8.9% for the rest.
I just wanted to say, by the way, Carl, I'll carry on, sorry.
Did you?
Yeah, I just want to say, Carl, if you ignore politics and, you know, the shit that does happen, there are some really nice places in the UK, or just go to Scotland. There's some beautiful places in Scotland. They're not the worst when it comes to political power.
You know, I'm obviously not versed in like every detail of like German politics, because, you know, I'm not in Germany regularly. But all I can say, right, is whether you like agree with Merkel, as an example, you know, like in all her policies, all the party policies, and even the decisions that she's made, she at least is just a decent, from what I understand and have seen anyway, seems like a decent person that's willing to compromise on issues and kind of work together with other countries on things. Whereas in the UK, we just end up in this weird situation where it's like, because we voted to leave the EU, we won't like even interact with the EU in any way, even if it would literally stop our own citizens from dying. So it's kind of just stupid.
The ADF do sound a lot like the Conservatives, to be honest.
Okay, let's be careful there.
Anyway, lastly, I just wanted to ask you guys, and we kind of went back into this, but is there one thing you would like to see in 10, 20 years? Just like one main thing you would personally like to see, be it like some sort of future VR to, as we've mentioned, cars or planes, or even something about space. So like that one thing you would love to see happen.
That's a tough thing to pick one thing. End of world suffering is what I'll pick. Right?
Okay.
End of malnourishment, wars, hunger, that sort of stuff. If we could get to a point where people weren't unnecessarily dying worldwide, I think that would be something for the planet to be pretty proud of.
That wasn't like a rocket or a plane or anything.
Oh, rockets could be involved in that.
Yeah,
An
right.
artificial
if we
world.
nuke everyone and start again, then we
That
could-
was my favourite quote from my friend. Actually, I'm not going to get into it though. You want a new pizza because I ate mine already? Jesus, I don't like pizzas, but people I know barely get through half a pizza in one sitting. So
What?
You
Who
I
do
know.
you know?
Weird people.
No, to be
You-
fair, yeah,
you
get
had
through
half a
like
pizza,
an
like-
eighth of 2 pieces of chicken, so you
Okay,
can't
that's
say
true.
you had half a pizza last time we went out for pizza.
Yeah, because it was a
Yeah.
16-inch pizza, and I had over half of it. And it wasn't anything like compared to Alfie's little breakfast baby's first pizza.
I mean, I only had that so I could have more shit when I got home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I figured that would be the case.
Anyway, let's not
Oh,
judge
God.
our
I had
pizza
pork chop when I
eating.
got home.
You're gatekeeping the pizza
Oh.
fandom, and I will stand by that fact.
I've eaten a
Good boy,
22-inch
corporate. I like
pizza
that.
in one sitting, mate. That's insane.
Good.
I've got someone who, if I go to America, they're going to buy me a massive pizza. I can't remember. I think it was like bigger than we have here in Chicago. I need to go to America
Oh,
just
all
for
of
that and
them.
then leave
I
immediately.
want to say their proportions are just bigger in general. I know McDonald's portions in America are bigger than
Mhm.
ours.
Their
if I'm not
cereal
wrong-
boxes are
Off now.
massive.
If I'm not wrong, a small McFlurry in America are normal,
Hmm,
roughly.
that's pretty good.
So, yeah.
Also, bigger drink sizes are quite common.
I think their small is our normal. So their normal would be our large, and their large is just
Yeah.
So they also have so many more options than that, but I don't give two. Yeah, they give me 10-piece chicken nuggets for free. The fuck? Oh, when you got 2 Big Macs. Okay, I was gonna say, did you just give them to you for free? That's quite nice. That's quite nice. Decent. I know in America the biggest. I don't know what it is in here, but the biggest McNugget order you can get is 40, but it's 10. It's 10. It's 4 10-packs if I'm not wrong. I don't know if that varies between each McDonald's, or what they have there and then. But I think the biggest order you can get at McDonald's is 40 in one order, or like one item. I don't know what it is in here. I want to say it's 20. I don't think we're going to get in more than 20.
I don't know.
Because if we can use dark matter and produce it consistently, if we can find dark matter,
we know there's a lot of dark matter. Just don't know that much about it and how to
Yeah.
harness it.
if we can harness dark matter, that would be a hell of a
Oh,
future.
yeah.
But also, if we can get fusion,
Fusion's pretty good.
fusion would be the better one because that doesn't have many bad byproducts. If I'm wrong, it's just a hell
But it
of a lot
still
of energy to get to it.
It still has bad byproducts. It's just
Not as many. It's not
a
as
lot-
bad as
a lot
fucking.
safer than other nuclear methods.
What's the other one? It's fusion and fission.
Yep.
Which one do we use? Is fusion the really hard one? Or is that fission? I genuinely can't
I
remember.
mean, define hard. They're both quite hard.
Okay, so I know there's one we can't do any. Like we can't currently use as an energy source because it takes so much to get to the.
We can't currently use fusion.
Okay,
We use fission.
that's
Fission is
it.
breaking down particles. Fusion
Mm.
is the opposite.
Remember
Fine,
that
then.
glass? We got a teacher that time.
Yep.
Still proud of it.
So you can produce dark matter. It already has been done. Wasn't that in the?
Miracle.
Was that done by the Hadron Collider?
Hydron.
Oh, I haven't looked into science for God knows how long.
Oh my god.
Actually, talking about science, I'm gonna go more depressing now. Did
Oh,
you?
great.
It really did.
Oh, I know what you're gonna
Yeah,
say.
it genuinely did shock me today to hear about Grant Imahara.
Yes.
Mm.
That genuinely
sad.
shocked me. I loved Mythbusters. Really did open my eyes up as a kid that you can have a dream job and have a lot of fun. It opened that aspect to me. It also opened up the aspect of how much fun science and engineering is. And thanks to Adam Savage model making, I fucking love his testy content. But no, it was just really sad. It was such a surprise as well. Like he seemed
Mm.
like he was a really nice human being, but just how something like that can just happen. I don't know if you guys knew, but it was a brain, not a hemorrhage. I genuinely can't remember now. Can't remember the word. Give me a second. But it was something to do with his brain.
Yeah, normally goes pretty badly.
But yeah, no, he was a great man, and it was unfortunate. But yeah, no, he's that's that bit done. We will always. I hope he rests in peace. Honestly, it's. I'm kind of upset where MythBusters went with the child series. I personally would have just liked. I know, obviously, you have to end a series where its best could be, but I would have loved to seen like an offshoot of MythBusters go off. So, you know the Latin words you're trying to say? You love science. I learnt Latin, but I got a U in my Latin test.
Which stands for unbelievably good.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it stands for unmarked. I'm almost certain my teacher looked at it and went, "You didn't do it," and then just didn't bother.
Mm.
Oh, stream like.
Oh yeah, I
Oh,
had.
yeah.
Oh
I
yeah,
saw that.
interesting. No, my bitrate just went down. I do apologise. It should be back up. What's funny about the planet I find when I went to New Mexico telescopes? Okay. Interesting.
All right, get us there then, you clever bit.
That'll
That'll be great when we can go between
Oh, that was it.
planets, like habitable planets.
He suffered he suffered a random brain aneurysm. So, yeah, I love science. Science is
We
great.
have the technology to go between exoplanets, Phelan.
Well,
That'd be actually something that cool. Let's
ideally
see if we
a
can.
cool amount of time, you know.
What? This is gonna
And in
be.
one piece.
This is gonna be a fun topic, and I'm probably gonna. You guys are gonna.
Or in numerous pieces that are then reassembled. You know, I
You
can't.
guys are gonna hate me. What do you think is gonna come first? Us reaching the speed of light, or somehow using wormholes?
Okay, define like us reaching the speed of light, like
The
human
humans.
transport
Humans,
at speed
yeah.
of light. Okay.
Human transport.
And by speed of light, do you mean like exactly, or like just below?
Oh, sorry. I do want to just answer Carl's question. You use numbers for grades. We do now, and the majority of the country does. You would. I don't think U would be a number. It would just be a U if you got a U in the mark, because it is unmarked.
Yeah, you just means unmarked,
Yeah.
ungraded.
So yeah,
U means it was so bad they didn't bother.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. The lowest U. I can't actually remember how the UK does it. It's 1 is the worst, 9 is the best, and they try and look for a 4 to 5 these days.
Something like that.
Yeah. So you think?
It's still
oh
a
wait,
U if it gets ungraded in the
we've
UK.
got 2 options by the way. Corporal says we're going to get wormholes first, and Carl says speed of light.
Ooh.
I definitely think speed of light is what I would vote for because it's more attainable to do on Earth.
The thing is,
Than
speed of light would be
wormholes.
so much
And that's where it's
cool.
speed about creation, but that's
Yeah.
obviously
Cool.
also complicated.
But like the thing is, if we can, I think the
Well,
hardest
creation
thing.
and maintaining.
The hardest thing about a wormhole is we could probably make one, God knows how long in the distance, we could probably make one. It's just would be able to make one where it's not just random, it just doesn't take you to a random point of space. Like, are we actually able to direct it somewhere? Because that would be the ultimate way of travelling, because it would cut down, oh God knows how long, but it would cut down, you know, the need to travel for hundreds of years in one direction hoping you'll get somewhere. But again, like wormhole, I remember back in the day there was a theory that there was a wormhole near Saturn because of some weird gravitational waves and light being displaced. I don't know what that proved to be. I think it was just an anomaly, but
An enemy. Wow.
wormholes are a lot of mass, but it's just a cool theory. Or it's just that's the thing. Most stuff in space is a theory. Wormholes might not exist, for all we know.
There's a lot of stuff in advanced physics that is we know of them, but then we have theoretical physics to try and guess and poke at how they might work.
Like black holes are a bloody theory. We got good evidence of what they are, what they do, and you know how they're formed, but they're just theories. We can't say this is definitely 100% what it is, because we don't have a definite 100% evidence of what it is. And again, it's very hard to study something that you can't actually see.
Sure, there's one in the
Okay.
cabinet over there.
Let's see. It's no, space is very interesting. I don't think we're gonna. It's unfortunate, but I don't think we're gonna get too far outside our solar system anytime soon. Especially when it comes to space, human travel, let alone just travel in general. Like,
not at current rate.
no, like what's it? The
That's that new
Voyager
Halo
one?
game,
No,
yeah.
the Voyager 2 made it further, if I'm not wrong. Or it was aimed to make it further. But that
Yeah.
the Voyager 1 only the last decade only recently got out of our solar system.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Into middle space, as I like to call it.
Middle
So,
space.
like
Next to
that's the
Middlesex.
point. You cannot reach. Wait, what? Let me read all of that. You.
Oh god, here we go.
It's wormholes
can
would
do
be interesting to see. Black holes, I don't think we're ever going to get close enough to one, and if we do, the theories suggest that anything that gets near to it is going to be noodleized. I don't actually know the terminology, but I'm going to use noodleized. No, noodleized, turned into a noodle. But like, if we ever got near one, it would just be instantly destroyed. We wouldn't really be able to get that research. So it's still going to be theories until we somehow have some sort of phantom, or photon. Trying to think of the other physics. Begins with P.
The other physics.
Yeah.
What's it called? I genuinely can't remember.
If anyone has any idea what he's on about in chat.
So, but no, yeah, I love space. I love looking into travel in space. I'll think of it in a minute, but I love space. I love travel in space. I'm surprised I'm not that scared of space. No, I'm absolutely terrified of the ocean. But I suppose that's because the deeper you go into the ocean, or depending on the ocean, you can't see shit. While in space, you can see as far as you like, as long as there's nothing in your way.
As far as you like.
Is that how it works?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
There's
sure.
nothing in your way, unless the planet gets in the way.
Space. There's nothing in your way.
That's why there's less crashes in space.
That's its new slogan.
But I
That's
don't
the
think
opening to Star Trek. What are you on about?
I don't think people understand how big space is and the fact that it's expanding, and that it's probably going to end very soon.
Are you?
I'm just saying stuff while I try and think of this other word.
Additionally,
still
okay. Well,
interested in
whilst
what
you're
word you're getting
thinking,
at.
I'm gonna put this. I'll put it in the general in Discord so everyone can see it. Because apparently, this is actually like becoming a thing. Like I've seen a couple of isolated examples. What is this goddamn cake thing?
Oh yeah, okay. So I don't understand this because this is
Right.
recent.
So let me explain.
So-
Because I'm the Twitter lore guy here.
Right. Okay.
Basically, do you know cakes that are designed to look like not cakes?
Oh,
There's
yeah.
viral videos that have gone around many times
Oh, yeah, for years.
of things that look, normally they considered data fondant. Well, another one of those videos went viral, and it was more complicated objects this time because actually in a lot of cases they basically made a cake and then like put the object that it was meant to be like as a shell around it, which I consider cheating, frankly.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But some of them were still like purely fondant based or whatever. Anyway, that basically went viral and Twitter really promoted it for some reason. I don't think people are
Right.
quite sure why, but it really went viral, which led to Twitter deciding to make fun of it with the meme that no one can understand what is and isn't cake, and that we could all be cake. And then like more videos of cake related objects went viral, and like people like cutting open what looked to be humans, but it wasn't humans, they were cake. And then just loads of edits of people taking slices of cake out of themselves also went viral, and taking things out of objects, and like, oh my god, guys just turned around from or just came out of the bathroom after looking in the mirror and discovering that I was in fact a cake, and just shit like this. It's been pretty pretty chaotic, shall we say.
I hate it.
God.
I'm just interested, by the way. I finally figured out after some searching what I meant. Quantum physics. There we go. It took me way too long to figure out what that fucking word
Didn't
was.
you say it was a P or?
Yes, I thought it was a P, but I was thinking of the word physics. So, but yeah, quantum mechanics, quantum physics. That's interesting. Now everybody's in chat talking about numbers. So there's many theories of what's going to happen when the galaxy expands to its limit. Could be the big freeze, the big burn, the big squeeze, the big expanse.
The big sillet bang.
Yeah, the big sillet bang. There's so many theories of what could happen. It's again theories. We don't know for sure, for definite, but they have some of these theories have ground into them. So we'll never find out as humans. Well, most likely we won't find out unless we somehow reach another point in science discoveries where it's like, oh, there we go. So, one Google year is 10. 100.
Yeah.
They're having fun. They're talking about the Google. I know a lot about the numbers because I spoke too much about No Man's Sky being 18 quin.
I think we'd use the E number there rather than the to the power of symbol. But then again, symbols on the internet are an awkward thing to try and use anything that's not on your keyboard, including like letters with accents, if your keyboard doesn't approve. So, fair enough. I could see the cause here.
But yeah, no, I do apologize. Did you say anything, Phelan, about what you would like to see? Like one last, what one thing you really want to see or be real in the future?
I don't know. I mean, I guess my thing would be travel to other habitable planets within a good amount of time. We have sort of galactic empire thing going on.
I truly believe we'll get to Mars at some point soon.
Yeah, Mars is cool, but it's.
Honestly, Venus.
I'm seeing chat, and that's all.
Venus would be fun. Personally, my thing I can't genuinely wait for in the next 10 years is Cyberpunk finally coming out after it's been delayed for 9 years. That would be a great discovery.
Then again, remember how long TF2 was in development for?
That's true.
I'm not saying that's not a good game, but
Dead Island 2 and the countless other games that are in development hell.
That'll be the next podcast for you all. There you go.
We've already been to Mars. It doesn't take 4 years to get there. It takes 6 months.
Well, I think it depends on where it is in the orbit. I know
the closest is 6 months, isn't it?
I don't know what the upper limit is, though.
I wouldn't have said it's 4 years.
I honestly don't know. All I know is I know it can take from 6 months. I imagine it would go up.
Cyberpunk releases the year it's based in, so it's outdated.
Yeah. That's just a real life simulator at that point.
Basically.
They just got everything exactly perfect.
Yeah.
I feel like
it would. They keep delaying it.
Closest is 6 months, 4 is 4 years. I feel like that's worst case scenario though. Like if you got the orbit horrifically wrong.
Well, yeah, that's why it's what?
Wait, that I'm gonna.
What?
No, so like.
What chance? Oh god.
Right there.
But ideally, we'd be aiming to launch for that 6 month period.
Which
that would be...
happens.
Even then, that's going to be difficult, to maintain human bodies for that long in that sort of environment.
What if they're cake, though?
What if they are
about
cake?
Goddamn cake!
We get to Mars and find
out
it's a cake.
Has become a thing, and I'm angry that it has.
It's pretty good.
Fucking Mars is actually a cake.
That and it always has been meme has been making a comeback, and
it
that
always
was
has been.
Never a good one, but now it's just in video form. Are we going to get Video Doge next?
Basically, made a comeback.
That'll be dope.
Alongside Cake on Twitter.
Cake, son. Yeah,
along with the
I don't
Sun
know why.
memes. Yeah, that they've been coming back.
Oh, why is
the
this
Sun
not
ones have been
me?
slightly interesting. I don't know. It's weird because the cake thing is creative, but it just doesn't. I guess it's just because it confuses me more than anything.
Okay, so
it's pretty weird.
This is really annoying me, but
I mean, they have corporal, but it's still you need to keep human. You need to keep them exercising well, on top of the different dietary things. You need to keep them active.
So,
but yeah.
this article I've found hasn't really helped. But it's telling me the fastest ship we've taken, the fastest ship we've ever made, at its closest approach would take 39 days to Mars, and its furthest approach, or the furthest it's away it is, would be 289 days.
I'd be interested
There's
to know
no other
how they
information on it.
classify any of that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's like,
that's...
wait, what did they classify as the fastest? So the
Because,
fastest
technically,
spacecraft,
Voyager 1 would probably be the fastest. That would probably get you there in less than 39
according
days.
to them, the
And also
fastest
stopping would be an issue.
The fastest spacecraft launched from Earth was NASA's New Horizon mission, which visited Pluto in 2015.
Yes, Voyager 2.
The probe left Earth at 36,000 miles per
Maybe,
hour.
I think I might be getting Voyager 1 and 2 confused back and forth repeatedly.
I'm pretty sure. I
When I
don't
say
know if this is
Voyager, I
true.
mean either one of them.
I'm
from
pretty
now on.
sure. I could be wrong. I'm just going to do my research quickly.
Okay, Giz gone.
I really don't know if this is true. I will find out quickly. You guys carry on talking while I do this research.
Jaffa Cake's cake with biscuit. Oh.
Yeah.
That was it. Voyager 2 was launched before Voyager 1, which doesn't help with making anything less confusing.
Wait, what?
Voyager 2 was launched before Voyager 1. Voyager 2 was launched 20th of August 1977, and the Voyager 1 was launched 2nd of September 1977. 5th of September. Same year.
Oh, okay, so fairly.
So
yeah,
it's
of course
close,
it was
but
close
it's
together. Duh.
but still,
Idiot.
it doesn't help
I'm so
with
dumb.
they're numbered like that. Yeah.
I don't know, one of them's the cool one, the other one's like.
I'm pretty sure the Voyager 1's the one with the disc
Okay,
on
so
it.
Voyager 1 is the one that's out of the solar system.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it's very confusing and
Stupid.
annoying. It's just
God, why did we fucking build 2 satellites? Just build better rockets that don't blow up all the goddamn time, honestly.
wait. Did
There
they
was
build
always
2
trouble.
because they think one of them, or they knew one of them, or they
Well,
did
yeah,
it just as a backup?
That's why they always built, like, you had Viking 1, Viking 2, I'm trying to think of other probes and missions at the time.
6 months to
But
a
yeah,
year.
because
okay.
rockets were so prone to failure at the time, they generally built 2 satellites or, like,
And if they both go,
2
if one goes
probes
well,
for the
they'll
mission.
just launch the other one then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think a couple of times they did lose both of them, which also just
Yeah.
says how far we've come in space flight.
I
But
want to
it's
know
now-
though. I'm not doing too much research into it, but I just want to know, why did they launch Voyager 2 first?
Probably just weather. Like, they probably planned it for a later launch. And then, like, weather or some other malfunction just delayed it.
Voyager 2's been in space for 41 years. Jeez. Travels 290 million miles every year. And it's 11 billion miles from the sun.
Oops, sorry, I've just seen chat. You mean the gravity? The gravity of what?
Voyager 2 is faster. Is the fastest it was sped up. Oh, by the orbit of Jupiter, yeah, and I'm pretty sure by the orbit of Pluto potentially.
No, but the orbit of Jupiter would be about right. If you want to get that far out, you'd slingshot around.
Yeah. Well, they do. They do slingshotting surprisingly a lot. They use the moon for slingshotting.
Oh, yeah.
Facts. Voyager 2 has visited 4 planets: Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune.
Visited.
Yep. It just went in, said hi, and left.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't sure if I said anything to, like, suggest differently. That's sorry.
I would say a majority of the spacecrafts they send out into outer space are sped up by.
Yes,
Posters
the
and
vast
have a cake
majority
in a-
of them that leave our orbit are.
Real comms failing.
The Voyager 2 is a great. Both of them are great parts of technology. Probably
Yeah.
never be found ever.
I
But
prefer the
you
other
know,
ones.
what else have we sent out there? Just into the distance.
Quite a lot of shit.
Yeah.
I love how we've only got one other picture of landing on. I was going to say a planet, but it's technically a moon, which was Titan, and that's the only other planet we've. The only other surface we've landed on and taken a picture of, even though it lasted
Didn't we
like
have
an hour.
pictures of Venus? Am I?
I mean furthest away.
Oh, sorry. Right. Yeah.
Titan being the furthest away. Venus, yes, we've got pictures of Venus again. That only lasted a few minutes, maybe up to an hour. because it just just got
Shout out
destroyed.
to the one where the lens cap stayed on. I think that was one of the first Venus missions.
That was 2 Venus missions. Happened on
2 of them?
2 or 3 missions. Yeah,
Oh.
it was Russian lander. Let me find this.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it happened twice.
God.
Because the first time, I think it was the same ship they literally just sent up. Like, it's fucking beautiful. But yeah, no, it's beautiful seeing these pictures. It's astonishing. Try and find these, and yet people think that, you know, all of this is fake.
Space doesn't exist. We live on a Velociraptor.
Yeah.
Okay.
You say that, that's probably someone's theory.
It's a very out of nowhere reference.
They did send a probe into Jupiter, but then they lost signal because the probe got crushed. Yep, that sounds about right.
I'm trying to think if there are any planets we specifically, in our solar system, we haven't sent, or at least attempted to send.
Okay, so
to.
wait.
I don't imagine there would be.
It's weird to
Planet
think
X.
how long. True, which we still don't have too much evidence on, but it would be cool if it was real.
It's definitely real, bro. It's the size of 2 suns.
Oh, if it's real, it orbits the sun
Is
every
it?
10,000 years or something like that.
Oh, the thing is, it's really hard to get a read of because it's hiding behind Uranus.
Fuck's sake.
I'm trying to think. There was something about Mercury and probes. I can't remember what the goddamn connection was. Oh.
But yeah, no, something about that Venus mission. The data they got about the soil was literally just from the lens cap, because it was right under the pool that measured how like dense the material would be.
Oh, this is an interesting one. I just need to.
Oh my
interesting. I've not heard
God.
of this mission before. I'm sure people in chat have. I don't know how I haven't. Pioneer 11 is apparently the second. So there was one sort of the second of 5 artificial objects to achieve escape velocity to leave the solar system. So that's.
Can we just say, by the
I
way,
didn't realize there were 5.
can we just say, by the way, that the best mission to ever go to Mars was Britain's, which inevitably failed because the solar panels didn't deploy properly, and was only found not too recently by an American spaceship. So if you could count, wait, what? So if I would count makes a chess move, would counted me. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Interesting.
I know what you're saying because I've
Yeah.
heard it before, but okay. Charles might struggle with it.
Yeah. No, I'm just out of it today.
Basically, if you take a chessboard, right, but only make it 9 squares, so it's a 3x3, right? and then you put a knight in the bottom left corner. Solving that problem is the same as solving advanced science problems and figuring out how many atoms there are in the universe.
Don't
Okay.
confuse them even more.
So yeah, no. Reading
We're
into
already
this,
going to be here a
No,
while.
no,
confused by that.
reading into this, it was 2 Russian spacecraft that Venera 13 and 14, which both landed on Venus. Venera 13 landed and survived 127 minutes, and 14
longer
only
than I
only lasted 57.
That's still longer than I thought, to be fair. I thought both of them lasted like less than half an hour. So it shows
14
that-
had a misfortunate
Chess
of
is-
the ejection of the camera lens cap directly under the surface compressibility tester arm. Doesn't say anything about the 13 then, so maybe it was just the one. Though they had 16 tests in total. The first 2 failed on launch. And 3 to 6 apparently all weighed up to a ton. So,
Okay.
Russia?
That'd certainly be, an idea, Carl. I was gonna say something. I was gonna say how it would be better with more views, but then again, that's true of like pretty much anything you could do for the 4-hour stream. So it's not really a relevant point.
We'll see. We'll see. We've got a lot of ideas for this, and I've still got work to figure out.
want-
So
Community Connect 4 games.
yeah.
I think that'd be good.
Anyway,
Hmm?
I think it's coming up to Jesus Christ. It's been 2 hours. I think we should call it a day there for this week.
2 hours, 1 minute,
Damn.
and 55 seconds.
We definitely went off topic at the start, but we
Mhm.
came back on, and I think we had some good conversations about politics, the future, cars, planes, all sorts, and it was quite a fun, entertaining podcast. Do you guys want to promote anything, shout anything out, or anything like that?
No, nothing in particular. Just keep safe. Hope all's good.
Wear your
Hope
mask.
it's,
Ah, fuck! I found the goddamn chart I was looking for. Let me see if I can get it.
Ah,
in
it's
good
too late.
resolution. Bastard. I'll put it in chat for those of you who want it.
Fuck,
There is
planes.
like a
Planes are
really
amazing.
high-res versions. Let me see if I can find that. Whatever. I'll tell you what. I'll just provide you guys the link, and then you can find it. 'Cause we're coming up to the end. Yeah.
Thanks for that. And yeah, would you like to promote anything?
No, I'm good.
Twitch.tv. Yeah.
/ Agent Oink. Oh, okay. No, thank you two so much for today. And thank you all so much for walking. Wow. Thank you all so much for watching. Let's keep this dream going. And again, thank you so much for making this come true. Hopefully one day, let's see where we can get this channel and maybe overtake Shroud. That's my achievement. As always, have a good day, night, morning, evening, and morning. Yes.
And milk morning.
And we'll see you on the next stream.
Have a milky morning.
Have a morning milky.
Wow.